Happy to be here with you where sports truly meets that thing called life. It is time for the Fantasy Football Power Hour. Not one of, not a, but the Fantasy Football Power Hour, and that comes to you proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub, 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. Head there to watch all of your NFL games on Thursday, Sunday, and Monday, as well as finding your way over there to watch college football, college basketball, golf, baseball, lacrosse, and soccer, and so on and so forth. So many great things at the Wildcat Sports Pub. Open 7 days a week. You can call them at 315-487-2222 for takeout and delivery. That's 315-487-2222. And, of course, go and visit them in the Home Depot Plaza on 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. Here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. I want to thank you for being with us, my fantasy football fans, up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe. So however you're connected with us, thank you so much for tuning in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our fantasy football advice every single week. Of course, this is week 2 of the NFL season here in 2025-26. Hard to believe that I'm saying that is the year that we're in, but 2025-26 here. And as you know, we will circle what game we're on. So we're going to circle the game that we're on so you know exactly where we are. So if you're watching this on playback, we move from top to bottom, left to right. So we will start with that first game of Thursday Night Football, the Washington Commanders at the Green Bay Packers, and we'll work our way all the way down to the Monday night doubleheader, Bucks at Texans, Chargers at Raiders. Thanks to Chris Berman for bringing that to us so many years ago, and it rings true to NFL fans to this day. So make sure that if you have a question, you send it over to us. Happy to always answer your questions. So if there's something on your mind, you got something with your team, we had so many awesome questions that came in week 1. So if you got a question, make sure you send it over to us. Happy to help you in any way that we possibly can. And so make sure that you do that today and during the broadcast. And if we've already talked about the team or we haven't gotten to the team yet, you can still send us your questions. Happy to answer them and help you out wherever we can. So with that being said, let's jump into this first game here, the Commanders at the Packers for Thursday Night Football on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life, giving you that fantasy football advice. Well, you know that the Washington Commanders have had them, to me, coming off of last season, they did some good things. There were some high hopes for them. They sputtered out and were not able to move past the Philadelphia Eagles. However, I do think that they're a dangerous team this year, and I don't think that they should be underestimated. If you do underestimate them, I think it's kind of at your own peril if that would be the choice that you took. But I think that this is a good team. I think it's a strong team, and I think that they have a lot to give when it comes to fantasy football. We'll start with Jaden Daniels, and I definitely think that Jaden Daniels should be out there for you this week. I don't think that I think in most weeks, Jaden Daniels is a guy that you can set and keep there, set it and forget it, so to speak. So I think Jaden Daniels is a play for you. I also want to take a look at their backfield and how their backfield has been doing. So when you look at the Washington Commanders and they're going up against these Green Bay Packers on the road, and the Packers are kind of an enigma, right? Because the question becomes who are the Packers? Are under Jordan Love, are they a playoff team? Because we've seen them have that caliber, right? Is it a team that you can buy into right away? Is it a team that kind of has different moments in the season where they're good? It's this who are the Packers question that we get here, and I'll get into the Packers in a second, but to stay with the Washington Commanders, as we look at how they performed this past week, the Washington Commanders were able to, in their matchup, get a 21-6 victory over the Giants. And looking at Jaden Daniels, 19 of 30 and a touchdown, no interceptions. Ja'Cory Kroski Merritt in his rookie debut, 10 carries, 82 yards, 8.2 yards a carry, and a touchdown. Jaden Daniels ran 11 times for 68 yards for 6.2 yards a carry. Deebo Samuel made his debut in Commander Maroon and Gold, and he had a touchdown on the ground on a 19-yard run. And Austin Eckler, 6 carries for 26 yards, but Austin Eckler currently on the injury report, he had 3 catches on 3 targets. Deebo Samuel was targeted the most and caught the most by far from Jaden Daniels, 10 targets, 7 catches, 77 yards in the game. Zach Ertz caught 3 of the 5 thrown his way for 26 yards to make a note of him. So Austin Eckler, he was limited with a shoulder injury, so just monitor that. But I think Jaden Daniels is worth the play in this. I like Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. I like him as a running back too, or a flex running back for you. Deebo Samuel is definitely worth the play if you can afford to flex him out. Some people got him later in the draft, so maybe you could do that. Terry McLaurin only targeted 4 times, caught half of them, 2 catches for 27 yards. I still think Terry McLaurin is worth the play and a dangerous guy out there because we know that whoever's throwing to him, he can be a viable fantasy player. On the other side for the Green Bay Packers, as we take a look at them and what they've done, the Green Bay Packers won 27-13 over the Lions at home, something that many people may have not predicted. I know that I thought the Lions were going to win this one. So Jordan Love had 2 touchdowns, 16-22. Josh Jacobs, 19 carries, 66 yards, and a tutty. Then we had Romeo Doubs, 4 targets, 2 catches, but he had 68 yards on it. So if you're in that PPR, you're getting points there. Jaden Reed had a touchdown on the 3 catches that he had, 5 targets, 45 yards. Dontavian Wicks had 2 catches on 2 targets for 30. Tucker Kraft, the tight end, got into the end zone. Matthew Golden caught the 2 thrown his way, 16 yards, and Josh Jacobs had 1 thrown his way, and he caught it out of the backfield for 4 yards. And then Luke Musgrave, the other tight end on the team, 1 catch, 1 target, 4 yards, so mirroring Josh Jacobs. In this matchup, I would say that Jordan Love is a quarterback too. I think Josh Jacobs is worth the play. If Jaden Reed is able to go, he was limited with a foot injury this week in practice. I'm going to say Jaden Reed is a wide receiver, a low-end 1, high-end 2. I'm going to put Doubs as a flex wide receiver. And Tucker Kraft, I'll call him a low-end 1, high-end 2 at tight end for this week. And like I said, if you have any questions, make sure that you send them in to us. Be happy to answer your questions when it comes to the fantasy football advice that we're giving here today. And like I said, we move from top to bottom, left to right. So if you're wondering where you're at, just look for the teams that are circled, and then you'll know where we've gone. Like we have circled the Browns right now and the Ravens. And so that means that we just did the Commanders and Packers, and that means next will be Jaguars and Bengals. So if you have a question, send it in to us. Happy to answer your questions and give you your fantasy football advice on your specific teams that you have out there. So always happy to help you. And so to whoever has a question out here, just make sure you send it in. Next one up here, we have the Browns and the Ravens. The Browns have started off their season having only divisional matchups. They started off with the Cincinnati Bengals, and now they will move on to the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens, right, so, quote the Raven, nevermore. And after losing 41-40, the Ravens fans are hoping that Raven quotes that nevermore will we be losing this season. And now they have the Cleveland Browns. This is a battle of who the old Browns were and who the new Browns are. Keep in mind that the old Browns became the Baltimore Ravens, and then the Browns came back in 1999. So you look at Browns history and they link all the history together, but technically the team that moved from Cleveland to Baltimore to become the Ravens are the original Cleveland Browns. So let's get into it. The Browns first. We'll go to their matchup here. The Cleveland Browns are on their side of it because they're the road team. Last week, and I told you this, I said this is either going to be a game that's played close and it's low scoring, or it's going to be like a 30-30 something and it'll be high scoring, but either way it'll be close. When I saw 17-16, it was right there with what I was talking about. And shout out to my guy, Andre Schmidt, doing his thing and being out there for the team. Love Andre Schmidt, big time fan of Mr. Schmidt. So Cincinnati wins the game on the road over Cleveland 17-16. but just love seeing the fact that the kicker, Andre Schmidt, is there and could have kept his helmet from Syracuse. Got an orange helmet there, got an orange helmet with the Browns. He was 1 of 2 on his field goals. He was 1 of 2 on his extra points, and his field goal that he made was a 45-yarder. Now, looking at how Cleveland performed in the game, Flacco 31 of 45, and they'll be monitoring him to see when they're going to make that move, right, to put in whoever their guy is going to be. I would imagine it's going to be Dillon Gabriel. I predicted going into the season that they would start with Joe Flacco and then eventually get to one of their rookies, and I thought that they would go Dillon Gabriel, then Shedeur Sanders. So we'll see what happens here. But Joe Flacco, his first game back with the Browns, he ends up getting 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, 31 of 45, 290 yards. Dylan Sampson led the way, 12 carries, only 29 yards, though, to lead the team. Jerome Ford, 6 carries for 8 yards. Gross. And so that was a terrible, terrible start to the season. Harold Fannin Jr., who wears number 44 for the Cleveland Browns, he did not have much to write home about either. He had 1 carry, 3 yards, and then you had Raheem Sanders, 3 carries, 3 yards, but he did have a rushing touchdown. Raheem did. So shout out to Sanders, who was the only one on the ground to do really anything for Cleveland, who was shut down by Cincinnati's defense here. And just so you know, Raheem Sanders is a rookie out of South Carolina who was able to get a touchdown in his NFL debut wearing number 35 for Cleveland. Jerry Jeudy, who I thought would be good to put out there, 5 catches on 8 targets. He had 66 yards in the game, so shout out to him for that. Dylan Sampson out of the backfield was targeted 8 times. He caught all 8 of those throws his way, got 64 yards to be just 2 yards shy of being right on par with Jerry Jeudy to lead the team. So shout out to Dylan Sampson, who wears number 22 in the backfield. He is a rookie himself, a round 4 pick, 126 overall by Cleveland in this year's draft out of Tennessee. So in his debut, he had awesome PPR-wise. And then Harold Fannin Jr., 7 catches on 9 targets. He's a rookie that was also picked up by the team. He's a tight end. And so he comes from Bowling Green, round 3, pick 67. The tight end here for the Cleveland Browns, Harold Fannin Jr., who had more work than David Njoku, who was targeted 6 times, caught 3 for 37. Cedric Tillman, number 19, wide receiver for the Cleveland Browns. He had a touchdown, and in the game, he caught 5 of the 8 thrown his way. He had 52 yards. So Cedric Tillman is a guy to watch in fantasy, as in a deep league, somebody probably has him. And in a non-deep league, he may be someone out there in free agency. So just make sure that you take a look at that. In this matchup against Baltimore, I would not be playing Joe Flacco. I'd look at Dylan Sampson as a running back 2 or 3 if you can flex him out. I think Jerry Jeudy is worth the play. I'm going to call him a wide receiver 1 this week still. Cedric Tillman in a deep league can be a 3 or 4 for you. And just watch that David Njoku, Harold Fannin Jr. and where things are at, because that's going to be an interesting place here. Is Harold Fannin going to overtake David Njoku, who's really never caught on with the Cleveland Browns? On the other side of it, you got to play Lamar Jackson. I don't have to tell you it, but I will tell you that if need be. Lamar Jackson should be out there for you. Derrick Henry should be out there for you. Zay Flowers, I would say to put out there as well. When we look at how Baltimore did in their 41-40 loss in just a barnstormer game there, that's exciting to see. When you look at this for the Baltimore Ravens, Lamar, 2 touchdowns, no picks, 14 of 19, 209 yards. Derrick Henry, 18 carries, 169 yards, 9.4 yards a carry, almost averaging a first down per carry, 2 rushing touchdowns. Lamar Jackson averaged over a first down, 6 carries, 70 yards, 11.7 yards per carry, and a rushing touchdown. Zay Flowers had 7 catches on 9 targets for 143 yards and a touchdown. DeAndre Hopkins, 2 targets, 2 catches, one of them a touchdown, 35 yards in total. Henry caught the 1 pass thrown to him out of the backfield for 13 yards. Mark Andrews, only 1 target, 1 catch, 5 yards. Justice Hill, 2 carries, negative 14 yards, negative 7 yards a carry, 1 catch, 2 targets, 3 yards. Not a lot of good stuff, but just watch that and just see what can become of that. But for Baltimore, like I said, I mean, Lamar put up great numbers. So did Derrick Henry. So did Zay Flowers. They're all worth the play this week. And if you want to take a look at Mark Andrews, I'm going to call him still a tight end 1, but I wouldn't be thinking he's going to save my fantasy week this week. So I'm gonna say that he is a tight end 1, but I'm not overly anticipating a massive day. There might be a bounce back day for him, but I just kind of I wouldn't get my hopes up too high that he's going to have maybe consistency this season, but this could be a bounce back week for him. Jacksonville, going to them here, and I just talked to you about Cincinnati a little bit. Jacksonville is going to be on the road at Cincinnati. Cincinnati won, Jacksonville won. So outside of these two teams tying each other in overtime, somebody's going to be 2-0 and somebody's going to have their first loss this season. So we know that the Jacksonville Jaguars decided for some stupid reason to let go of Tank Bigsby. This makes absolutely no sense to me. Now, I am happy for, some of the guys here that are in that backfield because it means good things, but now my question becomes, what are they going to do with Travis Etienne Jr.? I thought Travis Etienne was trade bait. That's what I thought this was because he's been on the team. They've had him for years. A couple years ago, they enacted the extension that they can do on the team option in a rookie contract. So they got him for 5 years, but this is only his 4th year because he was injured. He tore his ACL, unfortunately, in his first year with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And so his rookie season was kind of his second season. But they haven't extended him into a new contract. So the question becomes, what are they doing? What is the plan? And then I'm thinking, okay, well, he's probably trade bait. Because if they haven't extended his contract and they've had a couple years to work on this thing, then that could mean that they're going to put him out there, they're going to showcase him, and then when somebody needs a running back, they're going to try and get some draft capital for him. Instead of doing that, they decided to let go of Tank Bigsby, who has been in the league for less time, who is a giant power back, and who's a guy that I have interviewed and seemingly just is a lunch pail guy who goes to work and does his thing and doesn't ask too many questions, just gets it all done. So why this happened is kind of a head scratcher to me. I'll have more to say about it with Papa Joe in our Jaguars segment On the Prowl here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. But this is very frustrating to me. It's ridiculous to me. I think it was a stupid move. It's a questionable move. And what did the Jaguars get for him? What they always get. For some reason, the Jacksonville Jaguars are madly, deeply, and very strangely in love with 5th and 6th round picks. Because that's what they got for Tank Bigsby. Tank Bigsby could end up being a starter, or he could be your 3rd down guy, or he could be your goal line guy. Where does he go? To the Philadelphia Eagles. Who does Philly already have? Saquon Barkley. They don't need Tank Bigsby. Why this deal even happened makes no sense to me. It's like the Jaguars want the Eagles to win another title, but they never want to come close to doing it themselves. It doesn't make sense. It's a giant head-scratching moment, and it's in a long line of head-scratching moments that I've had with the Jaguars in general, but I don't understand what is going on and just how this makes any sense for Jacksonville, for their future, and for what they're trying to do on the team, to let go of Tank Bigsby. And again, of anything they could have gotten for Tank Bigsby, they turn around and get almost nothing for him. A 5th round pick in 2026, a 6th round pick in 2026. And who in the heck, I mean, what is that? You know what I mean? Tank Bigsby isn't worth a 3rd rounder or a 2nd rounder, bare minimum a 4th rounder. That doesn't make any logical sense to me whatsoever. I don't get it. I don't understand it, but it genuinely, it doesn't. There is a lack of intelligence when it comes to these moves that have been made. And it's kind of astronomical, the amount of just brain cells that are not used in this thing. I don't know who is making like the ultimate, I mean, general manager probably, but making these decisions is it's idiotic to me. It's absolutely stupid. Now, I feel great for Tootin. I feel great for LaQuint Allen Jr., who I've spent a lot of time with in his time at Syracuse and coming up and getting into, obviously before he jumped into the NFL, and look forward to having him back soon. But getting rid of Tank Bigsby, I thought the future was going to be Tank Bigsby, Tootin, and hopefully LaQuint Allen Jr. as well. And now it's, what are they going to do? I would imagine that they're going to extend Travis Etienne, but knowing the decisions that the Jaguars have made, it would make sense. It would make sense to them and no sense to us if the Jaguars turned around and decided to trade Travis Etienne after trading Tank Bigsby. So I don't know what they're thinking. I really don't. But this was not, in my opinion, the most intelligent move that you could make. I think that this move is very questionable in a long line of questionable things. So I don't understand. I just don't understand it. I don't. At all, in any way, shape, or form. But, I mean, if they have a lot of faith in Tootin and Allen, then that's great for them. And I hope that it works out. I just don't understand why you get rid of the lunch pail guy when the guy that was drafted before him has not been extended. That just doesn't make any sense. And if you're going to get rid of Tank Bigsby and you're going to send him to a Super Bowl champion, why would you get a 5th and 6th round pick for him? Like, you didn't value him higher than that? That's disrespectful to him, and it's disrespectful to the Jaguars organization. Anywho, I digress. So, Trevor Lawrence in this matchup against Cincinnati, I'm going to call him a QB2 in this one. I mean, I think Trevor Lawrence is better than people give him credit for, but 1 touchdown, 1 interception against a Carolina team that hasn't been that good in many, many years. 19 of 31. He had 4 rushes for 12 yards. I got him as a QB2 this week, like I said. Travis Etienne Jr., I think, for me, I'm going to keep him as an RB1. And then when you look at Tootin and Allen, so Tootin in his debut in the NFL out of Virginia Tech, longest carry he had was 8 yards, 3 carries, 11 yards. So 1 carry for 8 and then 2 for 3, 3.7 yards per carry. Etienne led the way, 16 carries, 143 yards. He did not score. And LaQuint Allen did play in his debut in the NFL as a rookie. He was able to get into his first ever game as a rookie, drafted in the 7th round, number 236 overall in the NFL, and he wears number 36 for the Jaguars. 1 carry, 7 yards, but he did get in the game, which is good signs for him, and he did catch a pass on 1 target for 4 yards, so good for that. He is good at pass catching out of the backfield, and I think the Jaguars know that they got a weapon in him. Travis Hunter, in his debut in the NFL, after they traded up to get him out of Colorado with the 2nd overall pick, Travis Hunter, 8 targets, 6 catches, 33 yards. He was behind Diami Brown, who came over from the Commanders in the offseason. 4 targets, 3 catches, 52 yards. And the tight end led the way, number 85, Brenton Strange, 4 catches, 4 targets, 59 yards. Brian Thomas Jr., only 1 catch on 7 targets for 11 yards. And when you look at Travis Hunter on the defensive side, he had 1 tackle in the game, and that was the only recorded anything he had defensively there. So that's what we have. Also, Tank Bigsby was working on kick return, so I'm thinking now with his hands and all the work that he's done that LaQuint Allen Jr., I would imagine and or suggest that the Jaguars put him there. Now that they don't have Bigsby anymore, it should be LaQuint Allen Jr. to be back on punt and kick returns. And this is why, folks, you play in as many spots as you can when you're in college and even before that in high school and whatnot, because that shows your college, and then playing all over in college can show the pros that you're a very versatile player. And LaQuint Allen Jr. being the starting running back at Syracuse, a back-to-back 1,000-yard rusher, and him showing his hands and ability to make moves and gain yardage on special teams on kick and punt return was great for him to be back there. I was a little concerned for him to be back there when he is your dominant starting running back, how much you want to put him back there. But I also think that it was great to show that he has an even more expansive portfolio, which can very much help him be on the team right now, to have made the 53-man roster. And now with Tank being traded away, this can make LaQuint Allen Jr. even more of an asset to the Jacksonville Jaguars for today, tomorrow, and in the future. So I'm looking forward to seeing him back there. With that being said, in a very deep league, you could sneak LaQuint Allen Jr. out there in a flex position for you. But, I look at Brian Thomas Jr. I think he's worth the play. I'm going to still call him a wide receiver 1. I'll call him a low-end 1, high-end 2. Travis Hunter's a flex guy. And I said play Travis Etienne. I got Lawrence as a quarterback 2. Brenton Strange in this matchup. Listen, he's been utilized. He's a young guy on the team. Happy to have his autograph because I got one of his cards with the autograph on it. Got a ton of Jaguars autographs here in the studio here inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. I'm going to call Brenton Strange a mid-range. I'm going to still call him a tight end 1. I'll call him like a mid to low end tight end 1, but still a tight end 1. I want to see his consistency, but I do like the thought of Brenton Strange being out there because, listen, he led the team in yards this week and he caught every target that was thrown his way. And we know that Trevor Lawrence likes going to the tight end, which is, again, why it makes no sense that the Jaguars not only let Evan Engram go, but let him go for absolutely nothing, letting him go in free agency to the Denver Broncos. On the other side of it, I think Joe Burrow is worth the play. I'm going to call him a mid-range to low-end 1 this week because Jacksonville's defense, I do think, may be better than they get credit for. So we shall see. But I'm going to say Joe Burrow. I'm going to call him a mid-range QB1. And then Chase Brown, we look at Chase Brown and his numbers, how he did. Now, Chase Brown's a guy that people wanted to write off when he was a rookie and in his second season. And here he is for year number 3, getting drafted high in fantasy. And when we look at what he did this past week, Chase Brown was the only running back out there. Joe Burrow carried the ball twice for 3 yards. Chase Brown, 21 carries, 43 yards. He did have a touchdown. T. Higgins, now this team did not do well against Cleveland numbers-wise. T. Higgins, 4 targets, 3 catches, led the team with 33 yards. Noah Fant scored in his debut with the Bengals, the only touchdown thrown by Joe Burrow. Jamar Chase, 2 catches, 5 targets, 26 yards. Samaje Perine, 2 catches on 2 targets for 6 yards in the game. So not a lot to write home about for them. Chase Brown, I'm going to call him a running back 2. Jamar Chase, still, I'm going to have him as a wide receiver 1, and I'm going to have Higgins there with him as well as a wide receiver 1. I'll put him just a little bit behind Jamar Chase, even though I know he had a better week. And then Noah Fant, I'm going to have him as, like Brenton Strange, I'll have him as a tight end 1, especially in a deep league, but I'll call him a mid-range tight end 1 to temper the expectations a little bit. If you have any questions, make sure you send them in. We're going to come back on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora after a fast break inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. This is the Fantasy Football Power Hour for NFL Week 2 of the 2025-26 season, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub, the place to watch these games and so much more. And you can obviously go and see them on 3680 Milton Avenue, Camillus, New York, to dine in 7 days a week. And for takeout and delivery, call 315-487-2222. Coming up next, Giants and them boys right after this. And now a message from Myers Creek Brewing Company, with locations at their Cazenovia Farm Brewery, Syracuse Inner Harbor Tap Room, and soon-to-be Lake Placid Tap Room.
Well, I think first and foremost, the Feldmeyer family and our team are extremely passionate about what we do. We care very much about what we do. The Feldmeyer family is always investing. Our taproom management team, our brew management team, our marketing management team, and all of the team members that get after it every day, they leave it on the field. They put their heart and soul into it. I know for a fact that everyone that works at Myers Creek wants to be there, and we want them to be there. You know, we want them to feel good about their job. And again, if you've never been to a Myers Creek, especially to the brewery, I mean, I want your eyes to open really big. I want you to see how big of a brand this is. I want you to see where we're going. The sky is the limit, and I feel very proud of that, and I'm very excited about that. When you think of designing a menu for a brewery, it's kind of open to a lot of different interpretations. I mean, you can do American, you can do Asian, you can do Italian, and you just have to find, you know, how that meets that pub style dining experience, that gastropub vibe. And I think it's super fun for us because obviously we know that, you know, everyone in the world's going to sell a pizza or a burger or a french fry, but what can we do to be different? And what can we do to be true to who we are? We are a brewery, you know, a brew pub. So the flavor profiles are kind of all over the place. I think it's super cool that we have a massive smoker at the brewery in Cazenovia, and we smoke a lot of our products. A delicious smoked turkey. We have barbecue ribs on Sundays. From a pulled pork sandwich to a chicken wing, and you go to the Inner Harbor and you go to the Kaz location and you'll find similarities in the menu, but also things that are a little different and also kind of fit those different demographics or different communities, and also hopefully just drive you to try every tap room that we have open at some point because you get a little something different at each one. You know, we understand how hard it is to, you know, work every day and get after it every day, and when you're done at the end of your day, you want to go out and put your feet up in a good ambiance and good environment. So we take pride in that. We make sure that everyone knows that they're very much valued to us.
In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they're always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
All right, you need to come out here and get yourself the Brooklyn Pickle. I was talking about this with one of my buddies. I was like, yo, there's no better sandwich in the state of New York than the Brooklyn Pickle. And now that I found out that they're going down to North Carolina, we are taking over your taste buds everywhere you are, wherever you're going to be. You need to get yourself out to the Brooklyn Pickle. Pinehurst, you just realized that you found yourself the best sandwich shop that you're ever going to have. This is a glorious moment. It's a blessing to your community. You're welcome. Brooklyn in the house, baby. Go over to the Brooklyn Pickle. You already know what it is.
You heard the man. Head to Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst on 1788 Old Morgantown Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, the Fantasy Football Power Hour, not one of, not a, but the Fantasy Football Power Hour, NFL Week 2 of the 2025-26 season. And of course, it's proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub. Go and watch all those games and more as you enjoy the great food and support local and small business at the Wildcat inside of the Home Depot Plaza on 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. For takeout and delivery, you can get in touch with them by calling 315-487-2222. That's 315-487-2222. Now we're going to get into this Giants Cowboys game, but not before I answer your questions that have come in. So thank you to everybody that wrote them in. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell while you're here on our feed. Chandler said, 18-man league. Would you trade Josh Allen for Caleb Williams, Zach Charbonnet, and Tortora McMillan? My running back 2 right now is Pirine and could use Tortora because Worthy is out. I don't think you should trade Josh Allen, man. Zach Charbonnet's a backup. Tortora, we don't know what he's going to be. And Caleb Williams, I think he's going to have a better season, but no. Chandler, there's better deals out there, and you might find somebody in free agency or on the waiver wire. So, let me know what wide receivers might be out there for you in free agency or the waiver wire, but I would definitely keep Josh Allen. You saw what he just did. Dude put up crazy numbers. What did he put up, 60? Or close to 60 this week? So, yeah, because there might be weeks, Chandler, where you're not going to get 60 from Caleb Williams, Zach Charbonnet, and Tortora combined. So, yes, Josh Allen's like having 3 players in fantasy at times, so I'd keep him. Kayla said, should I drop Mooney and pick up Quentin Johnston? So, speaking about Darnell Mooney and then looking at Quentin Johnston, it's a good question, Kayla. I appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. I'll take a look at this for you. So, Darnell Mooney, here's the thing. Now, I think the Atlanta Falcons are going to have more of a prolific offense now that Michael Penix Jr. is out there doing his thing. Love that he's a left-handed quarterback. Been a fan of Michael Penix. Very excited to have him come into the NFL. And so I think this team is going to have, I think that you're going to see a bunch of these weapons on this offense all of a sudden come up and have more fantasy value because Michael Penix Jr. is now their quarterback. You look at Tyler Algier, 10 carries, 24 yards. Bijan, 12 carries, 24 yards. They both got involved. Michael Penix had a rushing touchdown. Bijan had 6 catches and 7 targets out of the backfield. He had 100 yards, Bij had. 100 yards, man. Receiving, 16.7 yards on average, had a touchdown. Kyle Pitts, who we've been waiting, who is going to finally use this Go Gator product, 8 targets, 7 catches, 59 yards. Drake London, 8 catches. He was targeted 15 times. I don't know if I've ever seen in fantasy football a wide receiver in the NFL that was targeted 15 times in a game, at least not in recent history. Caught 8 of them, 55 yards. Ray McLeod III, he got involved. 3 catches, 5 targets, 51 yards. So I think this offense is going to have a lot of electricity. So, but you want to know Darnell Mooney, should you let him go for Quentin Johnston? Quentin Johnston is on another offense that I think is going to have some prolific times, and that being an offense under Jim Harbaugh. So when you look at the Los Angeles Chargers and one of the best balls that's thrown out there from Justin Herbert, Quentin Johnston, who's out of TCU and been waiting for him to find his footing in the NFL. He led the team with 79 yards. He had 2 touchdowns in the game, in the victory in Sao Paulo, Brazil, over Kansas City. Targeted 7 times, caught 5 of those. So Kayla, I would say yes. I would say pick up Quentin Johnston for Mooney. I'm okay with that. Even if Mooney comes on a little bit here, I'm still okay with that move. And then George said, kicking myself for drafting Matthew Golden over Emeka Ibuka round 8. Thought for sure Golden would be the wide receiver 1 in Green Bay. Yeah, some people are high on him. I stayed away from him. And that Ibuka would take a dip once Godwin is back. Well, we'll see, man. We'll see. Remember, Baker Mayfield likes to throw to a lot of different guys, so I'd probably have gone Ibuka as well. But listen, the past is the past. Let's move toward the future. If you got a question for me, George, happy to help you, but don't kick yourself here. Let's move forward, and let's make sure that you got some good moves coming up that are better than any move you made in the past. It's about the present. We can't affect the past, so don't beat yourself up, brother. Jonathan said, who would you flex out of Travis Hunter, Calvin Ridley, or Keon Coleman? Full PPR. Good question, Jonathan. So not Travis, probably Keon Coleman. Of the 3 that you're giving me, I'm not really sold on Calvin Ridley right now, and Buffalo's playing the Jets. I know the Jets, their defense has some moments, but I would say Keon Coleman for you, Jonathan. So I would say go of those three, I'd say Keon Coleman. And then who else we got? Neary. So how you doing, Neary? Said good morning to you. So going to answer your question now. I want to make sure that we get to everybody's questions here that I'm seeing at the moment, and then we'll jump into Giants at Cowboys. So if you were to be watching this show on playback, just make sure if you're watching this on playback that you write your question directly to this video so I can answer it, because if you don't write the question to the video, I will not see the notification. So if you're not asking me live and you're asking me on playback, make sure you reply to this specific video so it will alert me that we have a question that came in after the show went live. You can also get to me on X at CallDT. You can DM me there. You can also send me a message on Facebook at WakeUpCallDT or Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. Follow us on all of those channels and you can send me a message there. And you can also email the show. And so I'll let you know about that as we go forward here. So make sure to subscribe, Neary. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Happy to answer your question that you got sent in to us here. So I want to get to Neary's question here. Full PPR, forgot to add that to my question. No worries. So it says, morning, just got a trade offer. I would trade away Tyler Warren and RJ Harvey for Travis Etienne and Tucker Kraft. No. Because we don't know what the Jaguars are going to do yet with Travis Etienne. He hasn't been extended. And Tyler Warren and RJ Harvey, I know they're rookies, but they have upside. So Neary, I would say right now, stay put. And keep your guys at the moment. That's what I would say. And so let's see what else we got here. Because the person that's offering you that trade, they're looking at RJ Harvey and his upside, and Tyler Warren, they're looking at how well Daniel Jones did in week 1, in my opinion. So I would not succumb to that just because they're trying to offer you Travis Etienne and make you feel really good about it. No, I would hold on to what you have. So Jonathan said, I think I need to make a trade. Just need my guys to have a nice week. Wide receivers are Higgins, London, Calvin Ridley, Jameson Williams, here for JMO, and Travis Hunter and Coleman. Which running backs would you target? You got to let me know who you got, Jonathan. So I can't tell you what running backs to target if no one has offered you a trade or if you don't let me know your free agents. So, Jonathan, let me know your best available free agent running backs, and then let me know who you have at running back, because the more information you give me, the better. So let me see who you have at running back, and then I can tell you if you need to move on from any of those guys, and then let me know who's out there, because if I'm not a big fan of some of the running backs you have, but there's nobody out there that's better than them, I'll tell you to hold. And if I think that there's plenty of guys out there that are better, then, we could talk about it. Kyle said, trade Pickens for A.J. Brown. Man, it's early. It's early, man. It's early, Kyle. But if it's a straight-up trade, and Kyle, I think you already subscribed, so I appreciate that. If you haven't, make sure you do, but I remember you from last year. So, Kyle, I would do the trade if you're the one getting A.J. Brown. So I would do it if you're the one getting A.J. Brown. Jonathan said, my running backs are Barkley, James Conner, Pacheco, and Mason. Yeah, man. I mean, outside of Mason, I wouldn't get rid of any of those guys. You can let me know, Jonathan, who's out there in free agency. And like I said, if there's somebody out there in free agency that is better than having Jordan Mason, then we'll discuss it. If not, then I'm going to tell you to hold. So let's go to the Giants at the Cowboys. As your questions continue to come in, I appreciate it. Neary said, thanks, man, just subscribed. Happy to help, man. Appreciate the subscription. Looking forward to talking with you soon. So let's get to the Giants and them boys, and we'll go to that game here. We always do the road team first, so we will go to the Giants and then the Cowboys. If you have a question and it comes in, I will see it, and I'm seeing some of the alerts right now, so we will get to your questions as we go here. So make sure that you hang tight as we talk about this Giants-Cowboys game. On the one side, Giants fans are clamoring for Jackson Dart already. And here's my thing. You don't want this guy, like if Russell Wilson's getting hit, you don't want to switch that in for Jackson Dart. But I'm going to put the question up on X right now. Make sure you follow us on X, the former Twitter, @CallDT, CALLDT. So I want to know where you stand. Where do you stand on Jackson Dart? And I want to get your thoughts right now. So start him in week 2 or hold and start later. That's what I want to know. So where do you stand on what the New York Giants, and I'm putting it up right now in the moment. So where do you stand on what the New York Giants should do with rookie quarterback Jackson Dart? Start him in week 2 or hold and start later. I want to get your thoughts. So if you're watching and listening, make sure you're voting in the polls right now. And that poll is up on X, the former Twitter, @CallDT. That's CALLDT. Make sure to follow us when you vote in these polls. We got polls that go up pretty much every single week throughout the year, so you can definitely make sure to vote in our polls, and we appreciate everybody that has. So I'm going to put this poll up right now. It is currently going up here, and it will be live in 3, 2, and 1. So it's now up there for you. So go on X right now, vote in the poll. Where do you stand on what the New York Giants should do with rookie quarterback Jackson Dart? Start him in week 2 or hold and start later. Well, let's take a look at the Giants and how the Giants did. They didn't do that well in week 1, I'll tell you that much. And so we got a bunch of questions that came in. I will be getting to your questions. They only scored 6 points in week 1 on the road against Washington. Keep in mind, Washington is a good team. They were my very early prediction to represent the NFC in this year's championship game. Now that Tank Bigsby's with Philadelphia, now Philadelphia somehow got stronger, and the Jacksonville Jaguars got dumber with bringing in a 5th and 6th round pick for him, which I think is idiotic. If you're going to trade away him, at least get a 3rd or 4th round pick. Stupid. So the positives for the Giants: Malik Neighbors, 5 catches, 12 targets, 71 yards. Wendell Robinson, who I am thinking of as a sleeper for this year, 8 targets, 6 catches, 55 yards. Cam Scattaboo in his debut from Arizona State, 2 catches out of the backfield for 12 yards, ran the ball 2 times for -3 yards. That's not great. So we will see what happens from here. But who should you play in this Giants game against the Cowboys? Tyrone Tracy Jr., I think, is a flex for you. I'm going to call him a running back 4. I'm going to call Malik Neighbors a wide receiver 1. Wendell Robinson, I'm going to call a wide receiver 3. And then for the Cowboys in this matchup and how the Cowboys did, listen, they pushed the Philadelphia Eagles in the debut of the 2025-26 NFL season. They pushed those Philadelphia Eagles. They lost 24-20 on the road in Philadelphia. Jalen Carter, the update from the NFL, if you didn't see it, the update was out there, and I was able to, as an accredited member of the National Football League, put this official release out when I got it in my email. And so just so you know about Jalen Carter, to make a note about him here, and those of you that sent your questions in, I will be answering them momentarily. But the official release from the NFL's office in New York on September 9th, 2025 says, Jalen Carter of the Philadelphia Eagles has been suspended without pay for 1 game for his act of unsportsmanlike conduct in last Thursday's game against the Dallas Cowboys. Because Carter was disqualified before participating in a single play, the suspension is considered to have been served in week 1, and he will forfeit his game check. The NFL Players Association has informed the NFL that Carter will not contest the discipline and has waived his right to appeal. He is eligible to participate in the club's Week 2 game against the Kansas City Chiefs. League rules prohibiting unsportsmanlike conduct are of vital importance to everyone involved in the game. The NFL has been clear with players, clubs, and the NFLPA that it plans to place particular emphasis on sportsmanship this season. I think they always should. So, because he did not play a single down, he's already served his suspension, which means that Jalen Carter will be playing this week as if he was never not playing, because he got ejected from that game, but he still suited up for that game, and he will be suited up for this game suited up for his game that Philly will have that we'll talk about in just a little bit here, just to make a note of that. So taking a look at Dak Prescott in the game against the Eagles that the Cowboys lost 24-20, 21-34, 188 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. In his debut as a Cowboy, Javonte Williams, who came from the Tar Heels, where I covered him in college in my overall coverage of the ACC, went to the Broncos, didn't work out there, goes to the Cowboys this year, and he wears number 33, 15 carries, 54 yards, 3.6 yards a carry, 2 touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb, 13 targets against the Eagles, 7 catches, 110 yards. Pickens, 3 catches on 4 targets in his debut from the Steelers to the Cowboys, 30 yards in the game. Jake Ferguson, their tight end, targeted 6 times. That's good to see. 5 catches, good for PPR, 23 yards in the game. Miles Sanders, 4 carries in his debut with the Cowboys, the former Eagle, and Penn State before that, backing up Saquon Barkley. 4 carries, 53 yards, 13.3 yards a carry behind Javonte Williams. So in this matchup, I already gave you the side of the Giants. For the Cowboys, CeeDee Lamb is definitely worth the play. I'm going to put Javonte Williams against the Giants. I'm going to put him as a low-end running back 1, high-end 2 because of who he's playing. Pickens, I'm going to put as a wide receiver 3. Ferguson, I'm going to put as a tight end 1. Temper your expectations a little bit, but I am going to put him as a 1. CD is definitely a 1. And against the Giants, Dak Prescott, I'm going to call him a mid to low range quarterback 1 for this week. Let's get to your questions because I know a ton of them have come in here. So Lonely Stoner 401, I think that you've already subscribed to us, but if you haven't, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. And everybody who's come in, make sure to do that for us. We appreciate it so very much. But he said, PPR, should I trade Zay Flowers for DeAndre Swift or K9? I'm wide receiver heavy with Chase, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, London, Waddle, and Flowers. Well, who are your running backs, Lonely? That's important for me to know. So before I tell you to trade for one of these guys, who are your running backs? I know you said that you like the wide receivers that you have, but who are your running backs? Because Zay Flowers is in a very prolific offense. Kyle said Pickens and Troy Franklin and a 3rd for A.J. Brown and a 7th. So that would be the trade that you'd have to make? So the official trade would be Pickens and Troy Franklin and a 3rd-round pick for A.J. Brown and a 7th-round pick. I don't know if I like that, man. I didn't know you had to, I thought it was just straight up Pickens for A.J. Brown. Kyle, let me know who your other wide receivers are, and I can help you out with that. So Lonely said that your running backs are Kyron Williams and I'm guessing Travion Henderson from what you wrote in here. So, I mean, it's a good question on what you should do, and I appreciate it. And the canine nickname, Kenneth Walker the third. So you're asking me about Kenneth Walker. And so let's go back to your thing here. Should you trade Flowers for Swift or Kenneth Walker the third? Man, I would hold. Because Jalen Waddle is behind Tyreek Hill when Tyreek's healthy. Drake London is in a more prolific offense now. Jackson Smith and Jigba, I mean, yeah, I like your wide receivers. But, I mean, you still have Kyron Williams, and Travion Henderson doesn't really have, is Ramondre really going to stay in front of him? I mean, I like Swift, and Kenneth Walker has Zach Charbonnet. So, Lonely, I would probably hold for now, because I don't like you trading away Zay Flowers. I don't like seeing that. So Mark sending a Mark F, getting to your question now, and Mark, make sure that you subscribe and hit the notification bell, because I believe you're new to our feed here. Josh Downs or Cooper Kupp, half PPR, both are on waivers. Well, that's a good question, man. I think, You said Josh Downs or Cooper Kupp. So Josh Downs is going to be going up against the Broncos defense, and Cooper Kupp is going to be going up against the Titans. Well, I want to know who your wide receivers are, because you're going to be picking somebody up, which means you're going to be dropping somebody. So, Mark, who are you thinking of dropping? And who are your wide receivers? Once again, more information you give me, the better, so that I can make a well-rounded analysis of what you're asking here. Aaron said, do I trade Henderson and Adunze for Brian Thomas Jr.? No. Nope. Aaron, I wouldn't do that. And Aaron, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Aaron's question, Henderson and Adunze for Brian Thomas Jr. I like Brian Thomas Jr., but there's a bunch of different weapons there in Jacksonville, and you don't know what it's going to look like there. And I don't like the thought of you trading away Henderson, who has upside, and Rome Odunze, who I think is going to have a good season. Kyle said Keon Coleman, Shakir, Quentin Johnston, Worthy, Rice, and Tesla are your wide receivers. So that's who he has for his wide receivers. And so you want to know what you should do here as far as who you should get rid of. So is that Isaac Tesla that you have, is my question. Now, what did Kyle say to me? So he wanted to know Pickens and Troy Franklin for A.J. Brown. So you'd be getting rid of Pickens and Troy Franklin. And okay, so you have Isaac Tesla. So you'd be getting rid of Pickens and Troy Franklin. You have Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir, Quentin Johnson, Worthy, and Rice. So you got a ton of wide receivers, man. Holy cheap mother. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wide receivers. And so you actually have 9, because you'd be getting rid of Pickens and Troy Franklin for A.J. Brown. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you already have all those other guys, I would do it. I mean, I would do the trade if you're okay giving up the 3rd round pick that you have for next year. Untame, I want to make sure I get to Untame's question. And Untame, appreciate the question coming in. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. And to answer where's your question here, Untame? So we have Golden or Coleman at full PPR. That would be Coleman, in my opinion. Untame. That's where I would go. I would go with Coleman. I'm not sold on Matthew Golden. I'm going to have to see him do some things and be consistent. So Kyle said he wants a second now. What is he listening to the show, Kyle? Tell him to turn the show off. I'll give you advice, and then he can turn it back on. So he wants a second. Yeah, he must be listening to the show. I don't like that, man. He wants a 2nd round pick, 2 of your. I don't like that, man. I don't like you mortgaging your future. I wouldn't do it, Kyle. Not for the 2nd round pick. The deal was the 3rd round pick. He can't be changing the deal. That was the deal he had. That's the deal. Mark said, I'm just dropping Jaden Blue for a different depth piece. My other wide receivers are Brian Thomas Jr., Mike Evans, DJ Moore, Olave. Thanks, I subscribed. You're welcome. So, Mark, I want to go back to your question. So, Josh Downs or Cooper Kupp? So, what did you say to me? You said you're dropping Jaden Blue for a different depth piece. I mean, Jaden Blue might have some upside, man. I mean, if I have to choose between Downs or Kupp, I'm choosing Kupp. But I'd like to know who your wide receivers or who your running backs are besides Jaden Blue. So, Mark, send me your wide receivers. Then we got VF Shine here. And VF Shine's got a trade that's up here. So I'm going to get to your trade, and then we're going to get back to the games that we have. We just did the Giants at the Cowboys, so we got our next one coming up. VF Shine, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Appreciate it. He said, they said, what do you think of this trade? I give Drake London and receive James Conner and Tedoroa McMillan. My wide receivers are London, Brian Thomas Jr., and Jacoby Myers. My running backs are Kamara and Jalen Warren. Okay. So you give up Drake London, and you're going to get James Conner and Tortora. Yeah, I mean, I think I like it. There's a lot of... I think Drake London, again, Michael Penix Jr. as the quarterback back of Atlanta, not to sound like a broken record, I think that they're going to have a high-scoring offense. I think they're going to have a lot of fantasy value now. So, but I do think, VF Shine, I think that this helps your backfield, and I think it helps your receiving core. So, I would do the trade. That's my knee-jerk reaction. Like, I would do the trade, but I think Drake London's going to have... I think he's going to have a pretty good year. My only thing that makes me okay with the trade is you're getting value at running back and wide receiver. You're only giving up one player. You're gaining two. You're gaining depth. That's a good thing. And that Drake London is in a place where I think there's going to be a bunch of different weapons. I wish it wasn't Drake London that was in the trade. Maddie said, someone picked up Blue for $2. I missed out. Yeah, man, Jaden Blue. I like Jaden Blue. I like him as a flex guy right now. Mark said, my running backs are Ashton Genty, Kamara, David Montgomery, and J.K. Dobbins. Okay. So that's okay. I mean, you got a good backfield. I mean, Mark, I think Jaden Blue, you might have remorse by dropping him right now because people see Javonte Williams getting to the end zone twice, so now they want to throw Jaden Blue in the garbage. But I don't know if it's the right thing to throw him away. He's kind of a grab and stash guy right now. But Mark, I understand the move for Kupp based on the running backs that you already have. If you're looking to drop Jaden Blue. So I do get it. I just think Jaden Blue is a grab and stash. But if Cooper Kupp's out there, I mean, why not? Maddie said, my running backs are Charbonnet, Bijan, Algier, Ollie Gordon II, and Taj Spears. Do I need more running back depth? Depends on who's out there, man. So, Maddie, I would say, let me know who's out there at running back that you would be looking to pick up and what you'd be willing to drop. Mark said, go Blue then. Gracias. De nada. Mark, happy to help. And so let's go to Greg. Greg Muggs said, just gave up Travis Etienne and Matthew Golden for Breece Hall. I feel like I absolutely won that trade. Thoughts? RB1 is James Cook. I mean, dude, I think Travis Etienne might still be trade bait for the Jaguars if they don't extend him. If he's not extended within the next couple weeks, I don't understand the tank move. I still don't understand the tank move, even if he is extended, because if you're going to extend Travis Etienne, I feel like you would have done it now. But Greg said also picked up Shakir off waivers to replace Golden. So you picked up Shakir to replace Golden, so you essentially gave up Travis Etienne for Breece Hall. I'm okay with that right now. I mean, I don't like you giving up Travis Etienne, but I like the Breece Hall addition and that you brought in Shakir after losing Golden. So, I mean, I think ultimately you're okay. That would be my thought. I think ultimately you're okay. So let's see what else we got here. Maddie said, Giddens, Gainwell, Kendre Miller, Miles Sanders, Will Shipley. Okay. Greg, yeah, happy to help, man. And Greg, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you're with us all throughout the week, especially including on Wednesdays when we do fantasy football conversation that starts at 10 a.m. every Wednesday Eastern time all around the world. So already did. Thanks, man. Appreciate the subscription. So, Maddie, you want to know your running backs are Charbonnet, Bijan, Algier, Ollie Gordon, and Taj Spears. The guys out there are Gainwell, Giddens, Miller, Sanders. Yeah, man, I probably just hang out. There's nobody in that waiver wire that I feel great about. So let's go on to the next game here. And I love the questions that are coming in. Appreciate y'all so very much. Let's go to another divisional matchup here. The NFC North only playing within division here to start out the season. We got the Bears against the Lions, whose roar was very quiet in week 1 against the Green Bay Packers on the road. Let's go to the Chicago Bears, who lost a close game in a comeback victory in his first game as the starting quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings after being injured last year. So technically this is his NFL debut, even though he was a rookie last year, and that's J.J. McCarthy. And so J.J. doing his thing against Chicago on Monday Night Football to get that victory. So Chicago takes the loss, and the Lions take the loss. Outside of a tie, one of these teams will have their first win of the season. Let's go to Chi-Town first. And Chi-Town, I want to go to how they performed here early on. And Lonely, I know you got a question that came in here, so I'll be getting to it in a second. So Chicago losing a very close game, 27-24. If I said 26-24 was the score here. Caleb Williams, who I think will have a better sophomore season, the opposite of a sophomore slump. 21 for 35, 210, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. He also had a rushing touchdown, led the team 58 yards on 6 carries, 9.7 yards a carry. DeAndre Swift, 17 carries, 53 yards, 3.1 yards per carry. DJ Moore, 3 catches, 5 targets, 68 yards. Olamide Zaccheaus, who I covered and interviewed when he was playing college ball for the Virginia Cavaliers, 7 targets, 4 catches, 42 yards. Nice to see him coming up as he started his career in Atlanta. And then Rome Odunze, 9 targets, 6 catches, 37 yards, and a touchdown in his rookie debut. Number 84 tight end for the Bears, Colston Loveland, 2 catches, 2 targets, 12 yards. So I like that. DeAndre also caught 3 out of the backfield on 5 thrown his way for 12 yards. So good stuff for PPR. In this game, I would say I wouldn't be playing Caleb Williams, and I would say DeAndre Swift. Now, Kyle Menengai, people looking at him, but because Roshan Johnson, Travis Homer, and Deion Hankins, unfortunately, are all on the injury report. God willing, they'll be okay soon. But I like DeAndre Swift in the game. I'm going to have him as a low-end 1, high-end 2 against the defense of the Lions. I like DJ Moore in the game, and Roma Dunze. I'm going to call Roma 1, DJ a 2, Olamide Zaccheaus as a flex wide receiver. And then the Lions, on their side of it, Jared Goff, I like him in this game as a mid-range QB1. Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery are worth the play. So is Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta. And then Jamison Williams, I'm going to call him a wide receiver 2 this week, but a lot of fantasy value there. We had a ton of questions that just came in. I will get to your questions. So if I have not answered them yet, I will get to them right after we talk about the Patriots going up against the Dolphins. The Dolphins had a terrible start to their season, blown out on the road with Daniel Jones and the Indianapolis Colts. So we're going to go to the Patriots and Dolphins game. We'll go to the Patriots first as they are the road team. If you've just come in and you have not subscribed, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel at Wake Up Call DT and hit that notification bell. You can also find us on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, on X at Call DT, and on Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. So make sure you're with us on all of our outlets, and you can be with everything by going to wakeupcalldt.com, the website for all things Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and make sure that you bookmark that. Now, let's go to the Patriots and how they did in week 1. Drake May, I think, is going to have a better season this season. I said that I had put out a message and somebody had found it on our social media and reposted it a year later when I said Mike Vrabel should be the move to be the head coach of the Patriots. That was my thought and what I believe should happen last year. And they hired Gerard Mayo, and then after a season let Mayo go, and now they brought in Vrabel. So that was my move that I thought the Patriots should make a year ago. They made it a year later, and I appreciate that person for reposting it. And I think that this offense is going to be better. I think this team is going to be better under him. Drake May, despite the loss to the Raiders at home, 30 of 46, threw almost 50 times in the game. So for people that are critiquing Steve Angeli of Syracuse for going 33 of 53, well, look at Drake's numbers in the NFL, 30 of 46. Very close there, right? It's hard to complete a lot of when you're throwing 40 to 50 passes a game, you complete 30. That's pretty darn good. And so for Angeli and for May, and May coming from the ACC like Angeli is in right now, with Drake May being a Tar Heel alum. He had 287 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Travion Henderson in his rookie debut after winning a national championship in the first ever 12-team college football playoff that I was on site, on location, on the field for with that confetti and being right by the stage as they were hoisting up the trophy. Travion Henderson, a big part of that for Ohio State, and he led the team in his rookie debut for the Patriots. 5 carries, 27 yards, more than halfway to a first down. On average, 5.4 yards a carry. Ramondre Stevenson, 7 carries, 15 yards, 2.1 yards a carry. And then we look at Keyshawn Boots, who had 6 catches, 8 targets, 103 yards for the Patriots. Circle him and just pay attention. And then Hunter Henry, the tight end, 8 targets, 4 catches, 66 yards. Diggs in his debut for the Patriots, 7 targets, 6 catches from Drake May, 57 yards. Travion Henderson, 6 catches on 6 targets out of the backfield to go with leading the backfield itself, running the ball. He amounted in the game 51 total yards, and the 6 catches for PPR, big time for that. And Kyle Williams at wide receiver, 1 target, 1 catch, 12 yards there for Kyle Williams, who wears number 18. And Kyle Williams, a rookie, picked in round 3, 69 overall by the Patriots here in 2025 out of Washington State. So for the Patriots in this matchup with the Dolphins, I like Drake May as a low end. I want to call him a mid-range to low end QB1 because he's playing the Dolphins. And I like Travion Henderson. I'm going to put him as a running back, too, in this matchup. I'm going to flex out Ramondre Stevenson. Stephon Diggs I like in this game. I'll call him a low-end 1, high-end 2 wide receiver. And Keyshawn Boots as a flex-out guy. Hunter Henry, I'm going to call him a mid-range tight end 1 this week. For the Dolphins, Tua's got to get it going. He's got to figure it out. And we had so many questions coming in here. So, Lonely, Greg, Notorious, James, Scorpio, and Ronskov. I will get to all of your questions here and definitely be able to, I'll get to those in just a moment right after we finish talking about the Dolphins here. If you have not subscribed, make sure that you do that right now. So make sure you subscribe while you're waiting for my response here to your questions, and happy to help you out. So make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. And appreciate you all for being here with us this morning. And definitely cannot thank you enough for being a part of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Fantasy Football Power Hour, brought to you by the Wildcat Sports Pub. And, of course, we are inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. So thank you for being with us, and we'll get to your questions here in just a second. Let's go to Miami. Not a lot to write home about points-wise. They scored 8 points in a lopsided loss on the road in Indianapolis, 33-8. You'll take a look. Tua was 14 of 23. Zach Wilson was 5 of 8, so he did come in. Tua, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Devon Achane, 7 carries, 55 yards. He was a bright spot for the team, 7.9 yards a carry. And then Tyreek Hill, 4 catches, 6 targets, 40 yards. Jalen Waddle, while you work, 5 targets, 4 catches, 30 yards. Achane out of the backfield, 3 catches, 4 targets, had a touchdown and 20 yards. So you like seeing that. I mean, I think Achane is definitely worth the play. Tyreek Hill is worth the play. Jalen Waddle, I'll say, is behind Tyreek Hill, but I got him as worth the play. I'm probably not going to be starting Tua in this game against the Patriots. So now let's go to your questions that have come in, and appreciate all the questions here. And James, I think you already subscribed, but if you haven't, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. Let's see what we got here. So let's go to Lonely. Should I drop Rachaad White or Mason Taylor for Jonnu or Strange? Well, I wouldn't be dropping Rachaad White at running back to pick up a tight end. But You have Evan Engram, but he has a calf injury. So, yeah, I mean, Lonely, I would say if you're going to drop Mason Taylor, I would pick up, right now, I'd pick up Brenton Strange. So I would pick up Strange of what you gave me there. And then let's get to Greg. Do I start Breece Hall or Travion Henderson week 2 at my running back slot 2? Slot 1, you have Higgins. Or flex, you have Higgins. So who's your RB1, Greg? Let me know that. Because that's going to help me with letting you know who your RB2 should be. And Notorious, Fannin or Strange? That was Caleb's floor. He missed a ton of wide open receivers. Well, I think Caleb Williams, like I said, I think he'll have a better season than last season. I'm not saying that he's the guy that you should start in fantasy. I think as a team, the Bears will do better this year, potentially. We're going to get into San Fran, New Orleans in just a second here. But Fannin or Strange? It's a good question because I just talked about Harold Fannin. I mean, it's 1 week with the Cleveland Browns. And Cleveland is facing Baltimore, and Jacksonville is facing Cincinnati. It's funny to look at that here. So I would say, Notorious, who are your tight ends? Because that's going to help me here. I mean, are those your 2 tight ends that you're choosing this week, or are you looking to pick somebody up and drop somebody? So that'll help me out to let you know. James said, in a PPR league, would you trade away Jalen Hurts and Drake London for Genty and Judkins? No. No, I wouldn't do that. No. Because Judkins, I mean, he could be replaced by Dylan Sampson right now. And you're not weak at running back because you got Hampton, right? Amari and Hampton. If he's the guy with the Chargers and RJ Harvey, I think is going to be the guy with the Broncos, then no, James, I would stay. And of course, you're welcome. Appreciate it. Happy to help you, man. Maddie said a lot of Gordon the second drops, Ollie Gordon. Yeah, that's because Miami's got 19 running backs, and I told people that. Ollie Gordon was my sixth and final running back I picked up in one of my drafts because I grabbed him and stashed him. But again, people, and Maddie, we talked about Ollie Gordon last week, and I said, I felt good about, having him on the team or in certain situations picking him up. That's why every situation is different. I can't just across the board say, Ollie Gordon is worth picking up. It depends on who you have, and it depends on, the questions that are coming in and the specifics of your team. And like with any player, there's also the element of people freak out after week 1 and they start having fire sales because this guy did better than this guy. Well, Miami's got at least 3 running backs, so, it's hard to say who the guy is going to be right now. Now, Ronskov said, chat, I need help. Kelsey and Evans for Tyler Warren and Myers, pardon me. My Kelsey and Evans for Tyler Warren. No, you don't trade away Travis Kelsey and Mike Evans. Mike Evans is a 1,000-yard machine. So, Ronskov, I would not trade away Kelsey and Evans. If that's who's on your team, which you said my Kelsey and Evans, so I'm guessing I would not trade them away. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. So James said, for reference, my wide receivers are Pickens, Pearsall, Abuka, Tillman, and tight ends are Fannin and Warren. Thank you. And yes, I did subscribe. Thanks, James. So would I trade away Hurts and London for Genty and Judkins? I mean, I like you getting Ashton Genty, but I don't like you trading away Drake London and Jalen Hurts. James said, I joined the podcast late. I picked up running back Trey Benson. Could you provide a few thoughts on him? On Benson? Well, I mean, Trey Benson is a guy that I stayed away from. He's with the Arizona Cardinals, right? And in the game against New Orleans, 8 carries, 69 yards. He's in a backfield with James Conner. I don't expect a ton from Trey Benson. I'm tempering my expectations. It's his second year. 2024 round 3 pick 66 for Arizona. So I'm gonna tell you to temper your expectations of him, but I mean you got him, and your running backs are Harvey, Amari, and Hampton, and Trey Benson. So I mean I don't think it's a bad pickup. I just think he's in a backfield with James Conner, and I covered James Conner in college, and I think James Conner is definitely somebody who healthy is going to do some good things. So, I mean, he's in a backfield with James Conner. So, how far is he going to go? It depends on how much they want to use them both together is really the answer to that question. Let's get into San Fran and New Orleans. Once again, we are here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. And, of course, this is the Fantasy Football Power Hour, not one of, not a, but the Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub. Head over to the Wildcats any day of the week on 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. And, of course, for takeout and delivery, if you're watching the games at home, you can call 315-487-2222. That's 315-487-2222. James said, thanks for the information. He said, thank you, good information. Hey, man, I appreciate you. Always trying to help in any way that I can. I'm not perfect. I will make mistakes, but I will help you with the information that I have. And if I don't have it, then I'll look for it and try and give you everything I can. Brock Purdy's questionable in this game with a toe injury. God willing, he's okay to go. CMC and Jawan Jennings still on the injury report. He's questionable with a shoulder injury. CMC is on here, good to go. So let's take a look at San Francisco, who I think is a bit of an enigma themselves this year, at least at this point. So we'll take a look at what's going on here with the San Francisco 49ers. And they won their game against the Seahawks on the road against the 12th man inside of the NFC West divisional game, 17-13, and Sam Darnold's debut for Seattle. Brock Purdy, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, 26-35, 277. Jason, I saw your question come in, so we'll get to it in a second. Christian McCaffrey, 22 carries, 69 yards, 3.1 yards a carry. Brian Robinson Jr. in his debut coming from the Commanders in a trade late, right before the season started, to the Niners. 9 carries, 33 yards, 3.7 yards a carry. Pearsall, 4 catches coming from the Go Gators. Ricky Pearsall, God bless him and happy that he's healthy and hope he stays that way. He had 4 catches, 7 targets, 108 yards. Christian McCaffrey out of the backfield was targeted by Brock Purdy 10 times. He caught 9. 73 yards. So CMC, who's been a quarterback, been a running back, been a wide receiver, he accumulated 142 total yards of offense and 9 catches on 10 targets, like I said. Juszczyk, who is I think he's the only fullback that was drafted and was drafted in a couple of my drafts, 2 catches on 2 targets for 32 yards. George Kittle's on IR, unfortunately. 4 catches on 4 targets. God willing, he'll be okay and be back very soon and be healthy overall and just be well for him and his family. 4 catches, 4 targets, 25 yards, had a touchdown, but he will be out. Jake Tongs, he had 3 catches on 3 targets and a touchdown for the team. And Jawan Jennings, who is on that injury report, did have 5 targets, 2 catches, and 16 yards. So we did see him out there. And Sky Moore, who's on the Niners now, coming over from the Chiefs. Sky recovered his fumble and did not record a catch in the game. So hopefully things will get figured out there for him. In this game, I would play CMC and I'd play Pearsall because they're playing the Saints and I don't trust the Saints defense. Juwan Jennings, I'd look to play him as well. And Luke Farrell looks to be the tight end for San Francisco coming over from the Jaguars. Again, have no idea why they got rid of him. George Kittle has a hamstring injury, looking to return, God willing, in Week 6. And Jake Tongues, who came into this game, he's out there with Luke Farrell. He did have a touchdown, so he might be the guy to go to over Luke Farrell. Looking back at this, it's his third year coming out of Cal, and his birthplace, Los Gatos, California, the 6'4", 240-pound tight end wearing number 88 for San Francisco, Jake Tongues. So maybe look to him. I would not be... I mean, they're playing New Orleans, so maybe you take a flyer on Jake Tongues and flex him out, and I'm going to call him a low-end tight end 1, high-end 2. On the other side for New Orleans, I'm not sold on a lot of things here. Of course, I'm going to tell you to play Alvin Kamara. We had some questions come in. Jason, I'm going to make sure I get to your question here right after we talk about New Orleans. They lost to the Cardinals at home 20-13. Spencer Rattler, who won the starting job, 27-46, 214, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Alvin Kamara, 11 catches, 45 yards, 4.1 yards a carry, and 1 touchdown. Rattler, 4 carries, 29 yards, 7.3 yards a carry. Kendre Miller coming over from Chicago, 5 carries, 24 yards, 4.8 yards a carry in his debut for New Orleans. And Devin Neal, 2 carries for 9 yards. The rookie, 6th-round pick, 184 overall, to New Orleans out of Kansas. Devin Neal, in his debut as a rookie, got to play in his first game. 2 carries, 9 yards, 4.5 yards carry. Juwan Johnson, the tight end, 11 targets, 8 catches, 76 yards. Every quarterback has their guy. I tell you, I've been saying this for years. Juwan Johnson is a good tight end to have if they could just figure out who the heck their quarterback is and stay consistent. Juwan Johnson could be a consistent fantasy point getter for you. And if this is any indicator of Spencer Rattler and his connection to Juwan, then I would be playing Juwan Johnson, who might be out on the waiver wire and or free agency in your fantasy league. So Chris Olave, 7 catches, 13 targets, 54 yards. Rashid Shaheed, 6 catches, 9 targets, 33 yards. Cooks in his return to New Orleans, 3 catches, 4 targets, 26 yards. And Kamara caught the 2 thrown his way out of the backfield for 12. I like Kamara in the game. I like Chris Olave. Rashid Shaheed, I'm going to call him a low-end 2, high-end 3 wide receiver. And if this is what Rattler's doing, I'd look to play Juwan Johnson in this matchup as well at tight end. Let's get into your questions that came in here. The next game that we're going to do is Buffalo and the Jets in the AFC East matchup after we take a fast break here on Wake Up Call inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Let's look at your questions. Jason said, someone dropped Chase Brown. I'm going to assume by accident from all his waiver moves he did last night. Should I waste all my $87 left for him? I don't think you should. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Jason, tell me who your running backs are and make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. But, I mean, I don't know who your running backs are, so let me know your running backs. I don't think you should use all your $87 on Chase Brown, but let me know your running backs. James said, one last question. I also have Zach Charbonnet, who I forgot to mention. Your thoughts on him? I'm relatively new to fantasy. I mean, yeah, Charbonnet sharing the backfield with Kenneth Walker III. If Kenneth Walker III's healthy, I think he's the number 1 guy. Charbonnet could be a 2 carries for 5 yards guy. He could catch the ball out of the backfield. He could have a good day, but, he goes where Kenneth Walker goes, kind of like we look at. Well, I shouldn't say he goes where Kenneth Walker goes. If Kenneth Walker's healthy, it's hard to say Charbonnet is going to do a lot consistently, which is my same thought on Trey Benson with James Conner. So that would be, I think you got some similar guys there. Greg said, do I pick up Chubb or Charbonnet as a depth bench running back? I already have Travion Henderson as a backup. Breece Hall and James Cook are my starters. So who would you be dropping, Greg, is my question. Because that's important here. I'm not going to tell you to pick somebody up unless I know who you're dropping. Jason's got Saquon Barkley, Kyron Williams, Tony Pollard, and DeAndre Swift are your running backs. I don't know if you should spend all your... I mean, I like you picking up Chase Brown, Jason. I just don't know if you should spend $87 on Chase Brown. Greg said, I have a free slot from my ETN and Golden for Breece Hall trade. Oh, okay. I mean, so you got a free slot. Should you take Chubb or Charbonnet? I mean, those are two guys that Charbonnet is the number 2. And the Houston Texans have a loaded backfield right now. The Texans lost at the Rams 14-9. And the Texans had Nick Chubb, Dari Ogbongbowale, Xavier Hutchinson, Damian Pierce, and Woody Marks all had touches. But between Charbonnet and Chubb, Greg, right now, I would say Chubb. Because a healthy Chubb is a dangerous Chubb. And I'm not trying to be sexual. I'm going to take a step aside. Realize that after I said it. I'm going to take a step aside for a fast break here. If you got more questions, send them in. The Bills and the Jets coming up next on Wake Up Call inside of the Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. We'll be back right after this.
Here's a message from Renee from Brian's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McInerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Brian and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Brian and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Brian's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Brian's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Life gets busy, and sometimes that means us running around. So K9 Camp Dog Daycare offers you an opportunity to give your dog a place to stay while you take care of what you need to throughout the day. K9 Camp Dog Daycare is located on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, New York. You can see it from the highway, and it's just off of Erie Boulevard across from BJ's Wholesale Club. Call 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110 to schedule an appointment to bring your dog in and tour the facility. Appointments are Monday through Thursday after 6:30, where you and your dog can see everything that K9 Camp Dog Daycare has to offer, including a self-serve dog wash and a retail store filled with all of your dog's wants and needs, including food, treats, harnesses, leashes, and more, making K9 Camp Dog Daycare your one-stop shop for your furry loving friend. Right, Lily?
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We are inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios for the Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub. And the Wildcat is on 3680 Milton Ave in Camillus, New York. And these Great Lakes Honda City Studios, there for you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool. Let's jump in to the next matchup that we have here, which is going to feature the Buffalo Bills taking on the Jets. So we'll jump right into that conversation here, and that being inside of the AFC East. Well, for the Buffalo Bills, I shouldn't have to tell you, but Josh Allen, James Cook, Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir, Dalton Kincaid, all worth the play in this matchup. On the side for the Jets, listen, the Jets had themselves a good game, and some people are pretty darn excited about Justin Fields and what he can be and his versatility for this team. We got some other questions that came in. I'll get to your questions momentarily. So in the 34-32 loss at home to Aaron Rodgers, who used to be the quarterback of the Jets just a season ago, we look at Justin Fields, who is the quarterback of the Jets now. Looks like they traded because Justin came from Pittsburgh and Aaron came from the New York Jets, but they were separate moves. 16 of 22, Justin was. 218, one touchdown, no picks. Breece Hall, 19 carries, 107, 5.6 yards a carry. Justin Fields, 12 carries, 48 yards, 4 yards a carry. 2 rushing touchdowns to go with his passing touchdown. Isaiah Davis, 2 for 18, 9 yards a carry. Braylon Allen, 6 for 9, 1.5 yards a carry, but did have a touchdown. Garrett Wilson, targeted 9 times, caught 7, 95 yards and a touchdown. Breece Hall, 2 out of the backfield, 4 targets, 38 yards. Mason Taylor, 1 catch for 20 yards on 1 target, number 85. The round 2 tight end pick, 42 overall by the Jets out of LSU. So, in this game for the Jets, who do I like? I'm going to say Justin Fields because of his versatility. I'm going to call him a low-end 1, high-end 2 at quarterback. I like Breece Hall, Braylon Allen. You can flex him out as a wide running back 3 or 4, especially in a deep league. I like Garrett Wilson at your wide receiver position. The next game that we're going to go to is going to feature the Seattle Seahawks going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's going to be the second game for Aaron Rodgers and his first game at home in front of the Steeler crowd. We got some questions that came in. Let's get to them. Greg said, Rashid Shaheed, Diggs, who I dropped, Juwan Jennings, Christian Kirk, Calvin Austin are the top. So you could snag another wide receiver. You have Puka Nacua, Zay Flowers, T. Higgins, and Khalil Shakir. So let me look at your running backs here now. You have Travion, Breece Hall, and James Cook. And I would say, I like the Nick Chubb move, but I also like Diggs and Shaheed. I guess I would just stick with Nick Chubb because Nick can run the ball. He doesn't have to have somebody throw it to him. Rashid Shaheed, it depends on how much he's going to be used in that offense. It's got a lot of weapons, and if Spencer Rattler is going to be the quarterback consistently throughout the season, I do like Diggs, but I'll say Chubb for now, Greg. He said you were also talking about Juwan Johnson. He's available. I have Laporta and Kincaid. Yeah, I would just probably stay with those guys. I wouldn't be dropping Laporta or Kincaid for Juwan Johnson. I want to see some consistency. Blake said any defense, special teams, streamers to take advantage of. It depends on who's out there, man. So, Blake, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. But who is your defense? And Greg said, Chubbs it is. Appreciate it. Yeah, man, my pleasure to help you out always. James said, in my open flex spot, trying to decide who to play, Cedric Tillman, Harold Fannin, or Tyler Warren. Great show and advice. Thanks again. You're welcome, James, and I appreciate the compliment. It means a lot. Amongst those three, let me just look at one thing here. The Colts are facing off against the Broncos. Harold Fannin and the Browns are playing the Ravens, and Cedric Tillman is also playing the Ravens. So amongst those three, James, I would say amongst the three you gave me, I'll go with Tyler Warren this week. Especially if Daniel Jones keeps cranking it. So yeah, I would go with that. Next game up here, we have Seattle at Pittsburgh. Like I said, the home debut for Aaron Rodgers with his third team, that being the Pittsburgh Steelers. And we're going to start with the road team first. So Seattle, Sam Darnold, I wouldn't be playing him in this one. Kenneth Walker III, I like him as a low-end RB1. Zach Charbonnet in RB2. Jackson Smith and Jigba, I'm going to put as a wide receiver 1. Cooper Kupp, I'm going to put as a wide receiver 2 in this matchup. On the other side of it, I like Aaron Rodgers to keep it going. I'm going to have him as a QB1, not a high-end one, but I'm going to have Aaron Rodgers as a QB1. As far as their backfield, and by the way, Aaron Rodgers, 22 of 30, 244, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Jalen Warren, 11 for 37, 3.4 yards a carry. Kenneth Gainwell, who comes from Memphis in college and was with the Eagles before the Steelers, so he went from one end of Pennsylvania to the other. 7 for 19, 2.7 yards a carry. Caleb Johnson, 1 carry, -2 yards. Not great. DK Metcalf in his debut as a Steeler, he led the team. 7 targets, led the team, 4 catches, tied Calvin Austin III, and 83 yards led the team. Calvin Austin III, also from Memphis, he had 4 catches on 6 targets, 70 yards, and a touchdown. Ben Skowronek had a touchdown on 1 catch, 22 yards, 1 target. Jalen Warren, 2 catches out of the backfield on 2 targets, 1 a touchdown for 22 yards. Jonnu Smith also had a touchdown for the team. 5 catches, 6 targets, 15 yards. So there's a lot to be said about what Pittsburgh has with Aaron Rodgers, who's going to sling it all over. I like DK Metcalf in the game. I'll call him a low-end 1, high-end 2 at wide receiver. Calvin Austin III, I'll call him a flex wide receiver 3. Jonnu Smith over Pat Freiermuth. I'm going to call Jonnu Smith a mid-range tight end 1. I'm still going to circle Freiermuth and just kind of watch that. And then Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell. In a deep league, I'll say Gainwell's a flex running back, and then I'll call Jalen Warren a running back 2 in this matchup. Next game that we have up is going to take us to the Rams at the Titans, the debut for the number 1 overall pick. Cam Ward did not go his way. However, the last wide receiver I chose that wasn't even ranked in a wide receiver list that had over 70 wide receivers was Alec Io Manor. And Io Manor is a guy that he liked in the preseason. He's speaking of Cam Ward, and he went also to him to start off the season in games that count. So the rookie is a guy, a sleeper, that I grabbed and stashed, and I will be watching in this matchup. The Los Angeles Rams, I got Matty Stafford in this game. I'm going to call him a quarterback 1. Kyron Williams, worth the play. Puka Nacua, worth the play. Devontae Adams, worth the play. Tyler Higbee, I'm going to call him he didn't do anything last week, so I'll call him, because he's playing the Titans, let me call him a low-end tight end 1, high-end tight end 2, let's say. On the other side of it, let's take a look at this. And I also want to go by the numbers here for the Rams. And do we have another message come in here? So Matthew L. We had Matthew L come in here. So Matthew, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. And we're going to get to your question in just a second. So make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And we'll get to your question in just a moment after we finish the Rams and the Titans. So the Rams started off at home against the AFC South Texans, and now they're traveling to the AFC South Titans to start off the season. Matty Stafford was 21 of 29, 245, 1 touchdown, no picks. Kyron Williams, 18 for 66, 3.7 yards a carry and a touchdown. And Puka Nacua had a carry for a yard. Jordan Whittington, who was a wide receiver as well, had a carry for 5 yards. Puka led the team with 11 targets, led the team with 10 catches, led the team with 130 yards receiving. Devontae Adams in his debut with the Rams, 8 targets, 4 catches, 51 yards. And Blake Corum had a catch out of the backfield, the only target he had for 14 yards. Tutu Atwell, a catch on his only target. Kyron Williams, a catch out of the 2 targets, caught 1 for 3 yards. So on the other side for the Titans, Cam Ward will take some time. Lost the game on the road at Denver. Game was close, though, 20-12, and the Broncos had to come back. Cam Ward in his rookie debut, the number 1 overall pick, was 12 of 28, 112 yards, no interceptions, no touchdowns. Tony Pollard, 18 carries, 60 yards, 3.3 yards a carry. And outside of that, Tony Pollard led the team with receiving yards on 1 catch, 29 yards. Not great. 29 yards playing the Denver Broncos defense as well, though. 1 target, 1 catch, 29 yards. Ridley, 4 catches, 8 targets, 27 yards. So he had less yards on 3 more catches and 7 more targets than Tony Pollard did there. So just look at that. And Io Manor, 2 catches. He was targeted 7 times by Cam Ward for 13 yards. So like I said, just circle that. Who I would play in this game, let me call Tony Pollard. I'm going to flex him out at wide receiver, running back. Calvin Ridley, I'll flex him out at wide receiver. And I'm just going to circle Io Manor and just watch that and see what happens there. Tyler Lockett was targeted 1 time and didn't have a catch in his debut with the Titans after being with the Seahawks. So we'll see what happens there, but I would not be putting him out there this week. We're going to go to the question that came in from Matt, and then we'll go to Panthers at Cardinals. Matt said, should I drop Isaiah Pacheco for Hollywood Brown? Already have Saquon and Hampton starting. Matthew, who are your wide receivers? That's going to help me. More information, the better. So, who are your wide receivers? That'll help me knowing if you should make that move. So let's go to Panthers first in this matchup at Arizona. The Carolina Panthers first and foremost here, and then we'll head over to the Arizona Cardinals. Let's look at Carolina. Through week 1, the Carolina Panthers, they lost the game to the Jaguars 26-10 and in Jacksonville. Now they're going to be on the road in Arizona. Bryce Young, 18 of 35, 154. 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Chuba, 16 for 57, 3.6. Bryce ran 5 times for 40 yards, 8 yards a carry. Rico Dowdle in his debut for Carolina coming from the Dallas Cowboys. Rico didn't hit anybody with a Rico. 3 carries, 12 yards, 4 yards a carry. And Travis Etienne's younger brother, Trevor Etienne, who I have a card of here when he was a Gator, he had 1 carry for 4 yards in his debut. He's wearing number 23, 2025 round 4 pick by Carolina, 114 overall. He left the Gators and went to Georgia inside of the SEC. Teteroa McMillan in his debut from the Arizona Wildcats, 9 targets for Bryce Young, 5 catches, 68 yards. I was high on Teteroa in college. Good to see people drafting him, high on him, and seeing that his debut, he led the team. Chuba Hubbard out of the backfield, 3 catches, 5 targets, 32 yards, and a receiving touchdown. Jatavian Sanders, 3 targets, 2 catches, 27 yards for the 2024 rookie, who is in his second year, round 4 pick, 101 by Carolina last year. So Jatavian Sanders did some things there, wearing number 0 and playing tight end for the team that has multiple tight ends. Tommy Tremble, one of the other tight ends, 1 target, caught it for 2 yards. Xavier Tuleget to quit, 7 targets, 3 catches, 10 yards. And Rico Dowdle out of the backfield, 2 catches, 3 targets for 4 yards. Hunter Renfrow making his debut as a Panther, 2 catches, 11 yards on 6 targets. So Bryce Young trying to get the ball all over the field into a bunch of different guys here. So, I mean, they're playing up against Arizona, and Arizona is anything but consistent. So I like Chuba Hubbard in the game. I like Teteroa McMillan. I would flex out Xavier Legette, and then Jatavian Sanders. I look at I'm going to call him a mid to low end tight end 1. I would say for this week, and I probably would not be playing Bryce Young is my starting quarterback. And then as far as Arizona goes in the matchup, the Arizona Cardinals, and we got some questions that came in here from Jason. So we'll get into that in a second. Let's go to the Cardinals win on the road at the Saints 20-13. In that game, Kyler Murray, 21 of 29, 2 touchdowns, no picks in the game, 163 yards passing. Trey Benson, 8 for 69, 8.6 yards a carry. Connor, 12 for 39, 3.3 yards a carry. Kyler Murray ran 7 times for 38 yards, 5.4 yards a carry. Marvin Harrison scored in his first game of his second year in his sophomore season. 6 targets, 5 catches, 71 yards and a touchdown. Trey McBride, the tight end that I was high on when he came in a few years ago, and now all of a sudden it's like fantasy owners like him, fantasy books were predicting him high, and his first game of this season, 9 targets, led the team, 6 catches, led the team, 61 yards, second on the team. So some good stuff there. Trey Benson, 1 out of the backfield catch for 6 yards. James Conner, 4 catches on 4 targets out of the backfield, only for 5 yards, but PPR, you get the 4 catches, and he got a touchdown off of one of those. And then Michael Wilson, 1 catch on 4 targets, 5 yards. Zay Jones in his debut as a Cardinal, 1 catch, 4 yards on 1 target. So who do you play for Arizona in this matchup against Carolina? I like Kyler Murray in this game. I'm going to call him a mid-range quarterback 1. And then I'm going to say James Conner worth the play. Trey Benson, I'll put him behind James Conner. Let's call James Conner 1. Let's call Trey Benson 2 because they're playing Carolina. I like Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey McBride in this matchup. The next game we will go to will feature the conversation of the Denver Broncos going up against the Colts. The Broncos had a comeback win, and the Colts had a blowout loss. We'll get to this in just a second. The Peyton Manning Bowl. Jason said, can you rate, give me thoughts on my teams. Team 1, 10-team PPR. You have Fields, Genty, Cook, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Teteroa, DJ Moore, David Njoku, Flex, Kamara, Waddle, Bench, Jalen Warren, Nick Chubb, Pittman, and Booty. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's a pretty good team. I'm good with Team 1. Team 2, you have, let's see who we got here. Justin Fields, so you like Justin Fields here. Saquon Barkley, Kyron, London, Sutton, Terry McLaurin, Juwan Johnson, as your tight end. Flex out Pollard, Swift, Bench, Myers, Judy, and you got Booty as well in that one. You might want to take Judy off the bench, but I do like that. Team 3, you got Bo Nix, okay, Amari and Hampton and Kamara, Puka, Nico, Collins, Teteroa, Warren, Flex out Pollard, Sticky Ricky, Pearsall, I'm guessing there, and then you have on your bench Jaden Reed and Khalil Shakir. Yeah, I like your teams, pretty good. I like 1 and 2 more than 3, but yeah, pretty good on that. Now, Matt said Neighbors, T. Higgins, Flowers, Keenan Allen, Diggs, and Metcalf. So what was your thing here? Should I drop Pacheco for Hollywood Brown? No, man. I think you're good. I think your receivers are good. I think you stay. I would stay put. I wouldn't be dropping Pacheco. Notorious said, wake up call. My tight end was George Brittle, he called him. Sad. I understand, though. God willing, he'll be okay and be back in week 6, if not sooner, and he'll stay healthy this time around by the grace of God. He said, now he's in my IR, and I picked up both Fannin and Strange. I like that, Notorious. Good move on you getting both of those guys, because I think either one of them can be a little fantasy sleeper for you. Let's get to Denver at the Colts here. So Denver at the Colts will make a move to go through these rather quickly. So let's go Denver at Indianapolis. We'll go Denver first because they are the road team. I like Bo Nix in the game. I'm going to call him because I'm not necessarily expecting a ton of points per week from Bo Nix as far as the offense and whatnot. So I'm going to call him a mid-range QB1. RJ Harvey, I like in this game. I'm going to call him a 2. I'm going to put J.K. Dobbins behind him as a flex. Cortland Sutton in the matchup, I'm going to call him a wide receiver 2. And then on the other side for Indianapolis, Daniel Jones, I mean, he's playing Denver's defense. I probably wouldn't start him in this one. I like Jonathan Taylor. Michael Pittman, I'm going to call him a wide receiver 2. And Tyler Warren, I'm going to call him a tight end, low end 1, high end 2, because he's playing Denver's defense in only his second game. But I do think Tyler Warren could be a fantasy rookie steal. Let's get into the Eagles and the Chiefs. a replay of the Super Bowl. So excited to see this one. And this'll be a good matchup here. I know fans are really excited about this. So the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles played in the Super Bowl, and the Philadelphia Eagles took it to them. Now they're playing here in week 2. And let's get into this game, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs. And we'll start off with the road team, which is Philadelphia. Kansas City is coming home from playing in Sao Paulo, Brazil, being the quote-unquote road team in that game for the Chargers, who gave up a home game. And the Chargers won that game inside of the AFC West division. So for Philadelphia, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert, I'm going to call him a low-end 1, high-end tight end 2. On the other side, Pat Mahomes, Isaiah Pacheco, worth the play. And then Xavier Worthy, questionable with a shoulder injury. Monitor that. Their wide receivers, again, are kind of a toss-up here. It's hard to believe how well Kansas City does in a season when they've gone multiple years without having a dominant wide receiver since Tyreek Hill became a Miami Dolphin. So Hollywood Brown, I'm going to call him a flex guy. I'm going to call Worthy a flex guy. And then Travis Kelce is worth the play. Let's get into, or let me go to, let's see what we got left here. So we have our Sunday night and our 2 Monday night football games. So I'm going to jump right into those here. I think we got one thing that came in. James said, I'm in a quarterback 1 play league due to keepers. Most of the bench running backs are not available to draft. So after taking Josh Allen, I took Hurts with option to maybe trade him. Is there a range of running back or wide receiver to look at? It just depends on who's out there, James. It depends on who is available. Like I said, your teams are pretty good. I like teams 1 and 2 a little bit more than team 3, but it always depends on who's out there. I can't tell you, yes, definitely go get somebody unless I know who's there and I know who you got. You showed me who you got, but who is out there is the question. Sunday night football, let's get into it. The Falcons going up against the Vikings. We're going to go Falcons first because they are the road team. Falcons, Vikings. J.J. McCarthy had a great debut, and Michael Penix, he's out here doing his thing as well. I think this is going to be a great matchup of 2 guys that were drafted in last year's draft class at quarterback. Michael Penix Jr. in this matchup. It's Sunday night football. I'm going to call him this week. This is tough for me. I'm going to call him a low-end 1, high-end 2 at quarterback. Bijan's worth the play. Tyler Algier, I'm wondering when they're going to use them both because I think they should. And this past week they did, and both of them had plenty of fantasy positives going for them. So I'm going to say play Bij and Algier. And then Drake London, he's got a shoulder injury. If he's good to go, I'd put him out there. I'm going to call him a wide receiver 2 this week. Low end 1, high end 2. I like Kyle Pitts. Finally, we got to see Pitts get targeted and catch a bunch. And then on the other side of it, J.J. McCarthy, I don't know if, he's comeback guy. Came back on Monday night. Now he's got Sunday night. So this is essentially his rookie season since he didn't play all last year. So we look at J.J. McCarthy and say that he's got to be in primetime football back-to-back here after winning a national championship with Michigan. He knows all about primetime with where Big Ten football gets to play on television. So, I'm probably not putting JJ out here as my quarterback this week, but I like Aaron Jones. I like Justin Jefferson. And then, Adam Thielen, you can maybe flex him out. Jalen Naylor is another guy to look at here. He's in his 4th year out of Michigan State. So how these guys did this past week, to take a look really quickly here for Minnesota, as far as what we saw from in their 27-24 victory from wide receivers not named Justin Jefferson. Well, Aaron Jones led the team. He had a touchdown, 3 catches, 3 targets, 44 yards out of the backfield. Justin, 4 catches, 44 yards, and a touchdown on 7 targets. Jalen Naylor, 1 catch, 3 targets, 28. And then TJ Hawkinson, 3 catches, 4 targets for the tight end, 15 yards. Thielen did not catch the only target thrown his way. So, I would say for Minnesota, Justin Jefferson worth the play. TJ Hawkinson probably worth the play for you as well. I'm going to call him a mid-range tight end 1. Let's go to our Monday Night Football doubleheader. I love these. And so we got the East, we have the Midwest and then the West Coast game here. Tampa at Houston. Let's get into the Bucks at the Houston Texans. We're going to start with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and we'll go over to Houston. And so first and foremost for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Baker's worth the play, Bucky's worth the play. And then outside of that, if you're in a deep league, you might want to have Sean Tucker or Rachaad White out there as a potential flex, but I don't really feel great about either one this week. I'm going to put Bucky out there. I like Mike Evans in the game. And Emeka Egbuka, I'd put him probably as a flex. Let me call him a wide receiver 3 this week. Godwin is out for this week with an ankle injury. God willing, he'll be okay. And Cade Otton, just so you know, for Cade Otton at tight end, he's been there for a little while, but maybe this year is the year where he starts to show himself in fantasy a little more consistently. Cade Otton in the game, he had 3 targets, but he did not catch a pass, so I probably would not be putting him out there this week. Not that 1 week should judge anything, I'm just saying. CJ Stroud, I would probably not put him out in this matchup. Nick Chubb, I would have as a running back 2. I like Nico Collins in the game. I like Dalton Schultz. I'm going to call him a mid-range tight end 1. And then our final Monday night game and final game of week 2 of the 2025-26 NFL season is going to take us in the Fantasy Football Power Hour, probably presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub, to the Chargers at the Raiders. So let's get into that. And always a shout out to the Boom. I'm not stealing that from him. I'm just paying homage to him. I've met the Boom, got to talk with the Boom, got to tell him how much I appreciate him and coming up and wanting to be a broadcaster and just watching and listening to him. A lot of respect for the Boom. So every time I do that, please know that that is love and respect to one of the best in the game of broadcasting. Let's go to the Chargers first. I like Justin Herbert in the game. Amarian Hampton, I'm going to call him a running back 2. Najee Harris, I'll flex out in a deep league. I like Ladd McConkey. I like Quentin Johnston in this game. And then on the other side of it for the Raiders, I'm going to put out Ashton Genty. And besides Ashton Genty, the other option that I would have for you for the Raiders in this matchup, they won 20-13 over the Patriots on the road, as I had mentioned earlier. And in that game, Brock Bowers, 103 yards, 8 targets, 5 catches. Jacoby Myers, 10 targets, good for PPR. He used to be a Patriot, beat his old team, and still looks like a good PPR wide receiver. 10 targets, 8 catches, 97 yards. Trey Tucker had a touchdown, 2 catches, 3 targets. Ashton Genty, 2 catches out of the backfield in his debut, and he had 19 carries for 38 yards, and he had a touchdown in his rookie debut, and only 2 yards a carry, though, which you got to see better than that. So I do like Ashton Genty, Jacoby Myers. Brock Bowers, unfortunately, is questionable with a knee injury. If he's good to go, then I would put him out there, and that's the way I look at it. So that's where I'm at here with our fantasy football coverage, and we appreciate you being here every single week, Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time on Wake Up Call. With that being said, we will take our final step aside. If there's any more questions that come in here. Oh, Notorious like that. Raiders. So we're going to take our final step aside. If you have any other notes, send them over during our fast break here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Because if you can't send it, I can't answer it. So make sure you send it over. Do it now. And we'll be back right after this.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942. And tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily, and we bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvelange, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. Get you close to the teams and the players that you love. The teams and the players that we talk about on Wake Up Call all throughout the year. Head over to GG Cards and Breaks. Look through all their awesome designed case. They just took everything. Josh Gideon, the owner, he went in, and you can see it on our social media, the walkthrough video that he did, put a bunch of new display cases in and changed some things around. They're constantly evolving at GG Cards and Breaks. They're never standing still, and all of the awesome work that they've done has just upped the ante. I loved this store over 2 years ago, and then I see the new design now, and I'm like, man, I can't wait to go in there. They have so many awesome things in their display cases, their graded cards, their autographs, potential 101s, RPAs, the rookie patch autos, so many great things for singles, and then they also have packs and boxes. You never know what's going to be on the shelf an hour from now. So head out to GG Cards and Breaks today, and every Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6, Sundays from 10 to 5, 639 Delmar Place at Syracuse, New York. They also have Disney Lorcana, One Piece, Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, and more. So you'll find it all at GG Cards and Breaks, including all the supplies you need to protect your cards, travel with your cards, and showcase them. It all happens at GG Cards and Breaks. Many thanks to Chick-fil-A DeWitt on Bridge Street in Erie that just had their 1-month anniversary. Shout out to them, Megan Sorber and the team over at Bridge in Erie at Chick-fil-A DeWitt, employing our students and student athletes in our community down the road from their high schools, colleges, and universities. You can come be a part of their story and a big part of what Chick-fil-A is doing to work with the community. So much more than a chicken sandwich right there at Chick-fil-A DeWitt, the giant behemoth of a brick building that you cannot miss with a double drive-through. Go and get your favorite Chick-fil-A at Chick-fil-A DeWitt on the corner of Bridge and Erie. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I want to thank you for being with us in Hour 1, our exclusive first conversation with Ryan McGee since becoming the head coach of the Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse. And of course, me analyzing and speaking on my Q&As and sharing my Q&As with Syracuse Orange quarterback Steve Angeli and wide receiver Justice Ross Simmons. Two that teamed up in a Syracuse comeback that helped them get an overtime victory over UConn in their debut game at home in the Dome this season, and Steve Angeli's first ever game in the Dome as a member of the Syracuse Orange. I thank you for being with us up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Under promise, over deliver. It's 12:21 this morning, and we're still on the air. And those of you that know the show know that we are no strangers to going beyond the time we promise you. So thank you for being with us wherever you are. Once the shows go live, they hop into the archive, and I'll be adding this fantasy football broadcast and more to the archives on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Many thanks to our incredible partners in Central and Upstate New York. You will find Great Lakes Honda City, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, GG Cards and Breaks, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Bryan's Landing, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Mother's Cupboard, Pizza Man, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Ma and Pa's, Avicoli's, Chick-fil-A DeWitt, and of course, you will also find our wonderful newest partners, that being Myers Creek in their locations on 33 Rippleton Road in Cazenovia, and at Syracuse Inner Harbor, where myself and Isaac Elford are doing wake-up call game day broadcasts every home game. We just had our first, and we will have our next this Friday, September 12th at 5 p.m. ahead of the 7 p.m. kickoff for Syracuse versus Colgate. Come in pregame with us at the Syracuse Inner Harbor on 720 Van Rensselaer Street in Syracuse at Myers Creek. And of course, many thanks to the best sports complex you're going to find around in Central and Upstate New York when it comes to basketball, volleyball, pickleball, and more. You choose Game Point Sports. You can book time there for yourself, a small group, or a team by going to gamepointsports-syr.com and stay close to our social media to find out what's coming up next. And of course, we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse. The Bobcat Buzz comes to you every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find it by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you'll find our BSC Syracuse playlist. Nothing like having the amazing Bobcats here with us, like today when we had the opportunity to bring you our Bobcat Buzz exclusive with the new head coach, Ryan McGee, of the Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse Bobcats men's soccer program. So a big time shout out to them, and many thanks to each and every single one, including Ryan McGee, coming to the staff. You'll find the Bobcats on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com and go Bobcats. The Binghamton University Bearcats are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Bearcats every single Tuesday during Bearcat time at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. With student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni joining the show, you'll get your full fix of everything that is Bearcat here on Wake Up Call. Go to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our playlist, our Binghamton Bearcats playlist on our YouTube channel. You'll also find the Bearcats by going to wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to binghamtonbearcats.com and go Bearcats. The Onondaga Community College Lasers are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find the Lasers every other Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Next one coming up this Wednesday, September 17th, and they will be with us in what we call the Laser Lounge. The initial one in the beginning of our partnership featured the Director of Athletics at Onondaga Community College, Mike Borsch, with plenty of topics. You can find that special on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our OCC Lasers playlist featuring our inaugural Laser Lounge with Mike Borsch. And of course, you'll also find the Lasers on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to onondagalazers.com and go Lasers. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks to Ryan McGee, thanks to Steve Angeli, as well as to Justice Ross Simmons. Thanks to all of you that wrote in and asked your questions and subscribed and became a part of our fantasy football coverage here on Wake Up Call, which starts every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. I will say to you, as always, to have a wonderful day. Find us on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, and Instagram at wakeupcall_DT. And tonight, if you're in the area, come and visit us at Avicoli's on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, down the street from Liverpool High School. We will be showcasing the Liverpool boys soccer team inside their 2025 season. So families, friends, supporters, community members, come and show love for the Liverpool boys soccer team, Liverpool Athletics, and Liverpool High School while you have dinner at Avicoli's tonight, September 10th at 5:30 p.m. We look forward to seeing you out there. For now, from the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, this is Dan Tortora. God bless. No stress. Do your best. We'll talk soon.